the Sports Betting Network.
Follow the money. That's what I always say. You always follow the money. Yeah.
This is Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Pauly Howard on VSiN.
Here we go. Welcome in. It is Follow the Money on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Mitch Moss, Pauly Howard, live with you downtown Las Vegas from the Circa Resort and Casino. Very busy 4-hour program lined up today. A recap of what took place yesterday in the National Football League. Looking ahead to the current numbers for Week 8. Updated win totals, playoff odds, the same thing in college football. An early look at the World Series. What a matchup we have there with the Dodgers and the Yankees. Nick Bogdanovich on the show a little bit later on. And we are doing an extra hour today, as we do every Monday and Thursday, getting you set for, well, tonight, the 2 games that we have on Monday Night Football, the doubleheader that we're going to have. We'll get into a lot of bets and a lot of player props throughout as well. And I guess, Pauly, today's a day in which everybody who backed the Chiefs yesterday can basically say, well, I told you so, right? They can look at all the numbers career-wise from Andy Reid off the bye, say you can't go against that. He's automatic or close to it. Patrick Mahomes is a dog, same thing. And it's not like they did anything in the game other than running the football. Yes, they picked up 184 yards rushing on the ground, which is great. Kelsey had 17 yards. Xavier Worthy had 17 yards. Mahomes, 0 touchdowns, 2 INTs. On the year, he now has more INTs, 8, than he does passing touchdowns, 6. Somehow he's the MVP short shot on the board, and the Chiefs are the only undefeated team in football.
Yep.
My goodness.
Cash that ticket. There you go. If you had that last undefeated, 10-1. And you can absolutely say it told you so. 12-1-1 ATS run as a dog. Purdy turning the ball over, ridiculous. I had to do a triple take that those are actually Mahomes' numbers on the season.
Yeah.
And I feel good about our ticket again. If the Chiefs win 15 games, I want Andy Reid better win Coach of the Year. With all these injuries and what they're doing, and Spags gets a lot of credit, too, for how nasty the defense is. But when you're going to get everyone's best shot because you're the champ and you still can't beat this team, and their adjusted win total is now 14.5, if they can keep doing this and win games, to me, he's got to get it, and he's still 16-1, which I cannot believe. But a bad job by the 49ers, you lose. Debo got hurt. You lose Ayuk for the season. It's not good. Their win total is now 8.5.
Oh.
I mean, it's a mess in San Francisco.
Are they a playoff team?
I don't know.
With all the injuries?
I think you're up against it here. In the way the NFC North's playing again with all these guys, if they can keep doing this, so they play one another. But it's like we'll get to it with the AFC coming up. It's hard to find all these good teams and who's going to make it. But San Francisco, that was a big win for Seattle. And certainly the Niners losing that game and some other tough games coming up and all these injuries, I would say there's a good chance they miss the playoffs because 9-8 might not do it.
So what do we say about Brock Purdy today? Regular season game against the defending champs. Now, I thought he was okay in the Super Bowl last year. They should have won the game. They should have been the world champions, but they blew the game. So really, in his last 2, I'll call it best teams that they have played, right? The Chiefs this year and last year on Christmas night when they hosted the Baltimore Ravens and he was like a minus 250 shot to win the MVP. He was a disaster in that game, in way over his skis, cost him the MVP single-handedly for his performance in that game. And yesterday, with those 3 INTs, and he only threw for 212 yards, had, no touchdowns, 17 of 31 overall.
Yeah. And
you look at the other side, I mean, these are kind of like no-name play. Spagnuolo is unbelievable at what he does. Somehow he does not get enough credit. He's like Belichick from many, many years ago, the defensive side of the ball. And the guys on that side of the ball who you don't even know their names are they're doing the little things. Like on 3rd and 1, coming up with big stops against the rush, near the end zone, on the edge, touching Purdy's elbow, forcing him to throw the INT. Those are the little things that matter most. And you can't, Chris Jones is elite, almost like as elite as it gets. I like McDuffie quite a bit as well, but are they littered with like tons of talent? Maybe it's better than what everybody thinks, but that guy's amazing at Spagnuolo is amazing at his job.
They certainly didn't know what they had in Philadelphia. I mean, what Andy Reid is phenomenal. But you have the best player, and they just find ways to win. And I know it's cliches, but again, look at the stats that you've won, these 12-game winning streak, whatever it is, 13-game winning streak, and look at the margin of victory, combined wins with the points. So win all the close games, don't beat yourself, rely on the other team to turn it over, and you come out of there with a W. And it doesn't matter who gets hurt, too. So a testament to that organization, and I'm sick and tired of it. But I give them a lot of credit. But they become the Patriots, where you're just sick of them and they keep winning and no one can knock them off. And they figure to be there again when it's late January.
Yep. I'm wondering in my head, how many true contenders do we have in the AFC? C.J. Stroud was absolutely horrific yesterday.
Again, and no one talks about it.
Right.
Since Nico Collins got hurt, no one is talking about it. He had 80 yards. He was pathetic.
I refuse to believe that Nico Collins means this much to the offense. You can't, right? I mean, because we've seen other superstar wide receivers get injured in the past and quarterbacks are okay. He was 10 of 21. He was also 2 of 8 for 13 yards and 4 sacks when he faced pressure yesterday. Mm-hmm. So he was lost when Green Bay brought the heat. I can't consider that team a true contender. Like if you really want to get ahead, and look to January, Houston's going to go to Kansas City and beat them. If Casey's close to healthy, I think maybe the team playing tonight, Baltimore, is the. I don't know. Can the Bills? Can you see the Bills going there?
Nah, based on the history, I can't do it. No. They always screw it up. It's Kansas City and Baltimore, and there's a huge gap. And you saw what Baltimore did to Buffalo on the Sunday night game. Yeah. So please, I think it's those two, and who knows, maybe Likely nailed it about you guys couldn't beat us and we played this bad on Thursday. Okay, well, we'll see in the rematch. He might be right.
Yep,
but I would say it's those two teams and a big gap there in the AFC.
Well, we can certainly tell you who it's not today, and that is the New York Jets after last night. What a terrible way that this team is trending right now. To get blown out like that, and you led at halftime, and you were smoked in the second half. Tip of the cap to Russell Wilson. It took him a minute to get going, but once he did, Russ was officially cooking in that game last night. He got Pickens involved yet again. The rush defense, where are you? Pittsburgh ran all over him. Najee Harris with a great game, and Rodgers is in his 40s, and my God, does he look like it.
Yeah. Horrible coaching job, too, and that whole sequence there before halftime. It's 15-6. You have the ball under 2 minutes, and after Breece Hall has a 6-yard rush, Tomlin won't take timeouts. You're getting the ball to start the second half. You must run 2nd and 4 there. Mm-hmm. You must run 2nd and 4. And he throws a horrible interception, and it changes the game.
Oh, yeah,
because
completely.
The Steelers get a touchdown, and then you don't even score the rest of the game. You get run out. The defense quit. The team quit. The defense has been pathetic. They're throwing the jump ball stuff. They can't stop it. Guys are wide open. Wilson looked like Joe Namath. Unacceptable all the way. So now we'll see if this team can get it together or do they absolutely quit on the season. You play the Patriots. Okay, worst team in football. I think there is a chance they can beat Houston on that Thursday night, but the schedule's easy coming up. But what does that mean? Stupid penalties, silly mistakes, turning the ball over again. Wilson's wide open for a big play. He can't make the catch. Mm-hmm. I just can't believe how poorly coached they are and undisciplined that you must run the ball there, where it's either we go to halftime with a 9-point lead and we get the ball, and then it's 2nd and 4, and he throws the horrible interception, and then you hand Pittsburgh 7 points, and you get run out. Ridiculous.
So what's the goal there? Obviously, to complete the pass, not throw the INT. You think you can pick up more points before halftime?
Yeah, but your kicker sucks.
And then you get the ball at halftime again, and then you can really go up and then maybe put the game away?
Yeah, that's what they're thinking, but you're not that's normal thinking is our special teams is atrocious. We did 2 kicks blocked. Lucky to get bailed out on one of them. We got the 2-point conversion. So that shouldn't be the mindset. Yeah, they can't get anything right.
And by the way, one thing that Aaron Rodgers was absolutely the best at in his career was not throwing interceptions.
Yeah, right.
He would limit turnovers.
Yeah.
Now look at this season. It's one right after another for this guy. And this is a great tweet from Steve Palazzolo. The 2023 Jets, after 7 games, were 4-3 and they averaged 18 points per game. This year's version of the Jets, 2-5, averaging 18.3 points per game.
Make it stop. Oh. And again, yeah, you're right, because there was the last 3 games, they had a chance to win the game with the Rodgers ball in his hand. He throws the interception, and then that was a mess. New York teams in prime time, going back since 2019, 4-32 straight up. And also the incredible stat that since 2012, they've lost 20 straight games after they faced the Bills.
Yeah, and they're 1-19 straight up.
Yeah, how does this... Yeah, I can't believe it. ATS, too, that's the thing.
I'm sorry, 1-19 ATS.
Yeah, it's 1-19. That's impossible.
That's really...
That
seriously
is impossible.
It is. Yep. No, that team's going absolutely nowhere.
Oh, boy. What a way for him to go out, too.
It's so unfortunate for Jets fans and backers, like in the preseason, because the Patriots are right there with the Panthers, two of the worst teams in football, but also in their division. Look at Miami. And now they're going to get Tua back this week. Anyway, that's the way that's trending. But again, yesterday, 10 points. They are scoring on average 11.7 points per game, fewest in the entire NFL. So you have two of the worst teams in football in your own division, and the Jets are right there with them with 2 wins.
You're right.
That is just, again, a wasted season out of this organization.
Yep. And I tell you, the bookie's been getting killed, but they get some money back here because the Jets took money and went off the favorite, and the public is doing this, and why not? They're the team that lost because road favorites are 15-1 in the last couple of weeks covering. And that's big tonight with the 2 road favorites favored in Monday Night Football.
Sure.
But there's your loser. There's the road favorite that can't get it done. And they were a popular bet Monday night, robbed you. No way you can lose that game. And then the move here, Wilson's going to be rusty. He lights it up. The defense quits. They get blown out in the second half and another loss.
Yeah. Oh, but they got things figured out with Hassan Reddick.
Oh, yeah.
So
that's
that'll be great.
Thing, right.
He'll come in and help him solve the problems.
You're 2-5, so what's he going to do?
Can anybody play offensive line for him? Maybe that's one of the biggest question marks that they have. I don't know. Now the Steelers are, 5-2? They're +2. What did I see earlier today? +220?
Minus 220.
Minus 220. I'm sorry. Yeah, of course. Minus 220 to make the playoffs at this point.
Jets are +220.
Yeah, the Steelers are looking like, and again, the teams in their division that they have to play, Browns and Bengals, okay, no big whoop.
Yep.
They're probably going to finish in second place or make a run at first overall in that division this year. Up next, the Monday Night Football doubleheader, 2 games to bet on. We'll hit the point spread, totals, player props. A lot of mismatches on paper tonight, in my opinion.
Time. There's nothing more valuable. It's what drives everyone to make the most of every moment. We celebrate living large in the now. In a city where time disappears, we create experiences that electrify the soul and memories that will last forever. We go big, we go all night, and here, everyone is invited. So get loose and get loud.
This is Circa. You'll have the time of your life.
Coming up Monday on Follow the Money, we recap a wild weekend in football, a Monday Night Football doubleheader. Well, we know who's meeting in the World Series. Follow the Money weekdays, 4 to 7 Eastern on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Want to see who at VSiN is on a hot streak? Go to VSiN.com/picks to see all the selections and weekly leaderboard of VSiN hosts, writers, and guests. Become a VSiN Pro subscriber and get every pick sent to your inbox daily. Just head to VSiN.com/pro.
So, Pauly, have you had a chance to read the VSiN Daily yet?
Yeah, came in at 3 a.m. What's Bill doing up that late?
Well, rumor has it, it starts off with a 12-hour meditation session.
Then he just pours himself over film and live TV, really focusing and taking it all in. Fills in with the biggest insiders, talking trade secrets, strategies, the whole nine, absorbing the info.
And then and only then can the writing process begin.
In Las Vegas, Bill's late night becomes your early morning. Wake up to the very latest betting insights in your inbox with the VSiN Daily. Sign up for free at vsin.com/newsletter.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
Monday night doubleheader on paper and in theory. We have a couple of decent games tonight. Ravens now, when you look, they opened up 4.5. I think some spots actually had a 5 last week. Came down to 4 at some spots. Now around 4 and 4.5 in this game. Total is 49.5. Right now at DraftKings and BetMGM, it's touching 50. And in the other game, the Chargers are going back and forth between a 1 and a 1.5 point favorite, and the total is around 44 or 44.5. How is this not going to... I usually like, during these Monday and Thursday primetime games, I like to find the guys who are a little bit under the radar to bet on, and, like a yards prop of 10.5 or 21.5 or something like that. So tonight, Derrick Henry is a massive number. It's in the mid-80s. But don't you have to love him again in this spot?
Mm-hmm.
The Bucs defense, they are 25th overall in rushing EPA per play allowed.
Yeah.
Henry has 704 yards on the year already, 8 touchdowns. And the Ravens average 205 yards rushing per game. He's had at least 132 yards in 3 out of his last 4 games. And the Ravens offense is the best in football. They are averaging on the year more than 450 yards per game. The next closest, Detroit, 411. That's incredible.
Yes.
There's a 40-plus yard gap between number 1 and number 2.
Yeah, I think a lot of running backs eat tonight. Arizona can't stop the run either. So what Dobbins can do. If Henry scores a touchdown, he'll join Emmitt Smith, first player since 1994, 7 straight games to start the season with a rushing touchdown. As a team, if they get 168 tonight, 4th team since 1980 to have 1,400 rushing yards in the first 7 games.
Wow.
I think they get it done tonight. To me, Tampa, the performance against the Saints didn't age well, that you couldn't stop them. I know there was a punt return in that game as well, but Rattler actually looked competent and the offense looked good in that game. Tampa can't stop anything. And Seattle there was turnovers, but Seattle slowed down Atlanta. Atlanta got whatever they want against Tampa. Tampa's got a bad defense. And I like Harbaugh against Bulls, and Lamar Jackson is 22-1 straight up against the NFC in his career. I think the Ravens get there in the early game. And also, we know we've been honest with the kicking, though, too. But both teams to make a 33-yard field goal, and this seems,
I think over 3.5 field goals is the bet tonight.
Right. Well, each team have a touchdown and a field goal, minus 220. It's heavily juiced, but that's with McLaughlin and...
him and Tucker?
Yeah.
Totally
it's going to be a high-scoring game.
Yeah, I think we're going to get points here, hence it touching 50 in some spots right now, because I think the Buccaneers can at least match the Ravens in points for a little while. I don't know if they can do it over 60 minutes. But the Ravens defense, they are 23rd in EPA per play allowed. They're 27th in dropback EPA per play allowed. The Buccaneers, our offense, are 7th overall. I mean, that's really, really bad out of this Ravens unit. And Mayfield leads the league with 15 touchdown passes. He's 2nd overall in passer rating. He's got awesome wide receivers. There's going to be there is no injury designation to Mike Evans tonight. We didn't know about that on Friday.
Yeah, I know. It was touchy. It looked like maybe...
I thought he was going to actually miss.
Yeah, he's questionable, I know.
But Ravens are 5-1 to the over. Buccaneers are 4-2 to the over.
Yeah.
I think also Mayfield over 1.5 passing touchdowns is like not even minus 110. I think that's worth a look too. But to me, it's going to be this Ravens offense on the season averaging 29.5. But again, they're both averaging almost 30 points per game.
Yep.
So the Buccaneers allow 23.5. Ravens allow almost 25 points per game. Yards per play, the Ravens 6.9, which is first. Buccaneers 6.1, tied for 5th. And yards per play allowed, Buccaneers are 19th overall in the league. Ravens are 23rd. Now, again, I was making the case for Chuba Hubbard to really go off yesterday against the Commanders. My one drawback was, well, what if it turns into a blowout? That's exactly what it did. He never got to 70 yards. I don't think the Buccaneers are going to blow the Ravens out tonight. So I think Henry's going to be a factor pretty much the entire time. He is running with he's a man on a mission, by the way.
You should get that over. Yeah, I know. He should get 100 yards.
You want to do a ladder here, like 100, maybe 110, something like that?
I don't know about that, but maybe Lamar can beat him through the air too, and pick your poison. In the other game, I don't see. I think the total's a little high in this game, but it figures to be a Dobbins game and run the ball again because Arizona can't stop it. I'm no surprised at the spread, but we talked about could the AFC West get 3 playoff teams? Let's say the Chargers win this game Saints, Browns, Titans, Bengals, Raiders, Patriots still on the schedule.
Oh, I know it.
That's what's coming up.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man. So Jim was always great on Monday Night Football in San Francisco, 6-0. You know, it's wild here with the wide receivers. McConkey's questionable. Chark's questionable. Johnson's supposed to be out. And they let him cook and let Herbert throw last week, and he was good till they took the air out of the ball and sat on the lead. But I just can't make a case for Arizona. They're schizophrenic, but with the late game here, I think the Chargers get it done, but I think the total's too high.
Yep. Joey Bosa, doubtful, but what's new with that? I think he's doubtful every game.
Yeah.
Basically has been his entire career. Chargers defense, 30 in EPA per play allowed on the season. They have the best rushing defense in the league. They're top 5 against the pass. That's huge because the Cardinals have been really, really solid at running the football, and James Conner is having a nice season.
Mm-hmm.
But now, here you go against the best rush defense in the entire league. Cardinals on offense, 25th in EPA per play since week 3. Yuck. On defense, to your point, on Dobbins maybe going off tonight, 23rd in rushing EPA per play. Harbaugh is 17-3 straight up as a road favorite of 7 points or fewer. Much of that came with the 49ers, but he's 2-0 to that number so far this year with the Chargers.
I think Herbert's rushing yards are way too high.
That's exactly what I think, too. That's a big number.
That's a big, yeah. I never want a Murray under. He's 33.5. I usually bet him over because he could get that on one scramble. But, you know, the props are great. The matchups are good. And I like the 9 o'clock East Coast start to one of the late games.
Yep.
We'll be sticking around with Humans and Von Tobel. It'll be fun, so it's a good doubleheader.
Don't you like the Chargers to win the game?
Yes, I do. But it's hard to get away from the road favorite number. I mean, other than the Jets, everyone's been covering these for 2 weeks now.
Yeah. The thing that scares me, you ran it down, the guys who are either questionable, doubtful, or probably not going to play in the game tonight for the Chargers, like it's a lot of guys on the team that might not be in this contest tonight, and that would scare me. And it looks like Marvin Harrison's going to be a go tonight.
Yep.
For the Cardinals, although he was definitely, the sea legs did not look great last week when he had that concussion. That's always a little bit scary, obviously. So I would say the Mayfield in the first game, touchdown pass is over, and we both agree on the kicker, the combined kicking prop of over 3.5 field goals in that first game.
Oh, yeah.
Tonight. I think it's going to be a good game.
Yes.
I think the Buccaneers are pretty good.
What happens to that number if Tampa Bay looks impressive tonight? They're 2.5 at home to Atlanta next week.
Oh, they're worth a play.
I mean, that's, yeah.
They were 1.5.
Bet that.
They were 1.5 last week in the look ahead. As we saw yesterday, this Falcons team, they were playing with house money. Does anybody really think Atlanta's a decent football team?
Well, it's Jimmy Lake again. I think it's a big reason why. With your coordinator and no pass rush at all.
Oh, zero.
Nothing. All day back there and what they did. Certainly -3 in the turnover battle will get you. But so bad defensively. Quarterback has all day and just...
Well, to your point, Paul,
bad.
I mean, this could be something here with 4 teams making the playoffs out of the NFC North. There's absolutely a path where, let's say, the Buccaneers are the only team to come out of that division.
San
out of the
Francisco
West,
and or Seattle. Just pick one.
Okay, that's there you go.
Pick one.
And then, is it going to be just one out of the East? This is a huge game this week for Philadelphia playing on the road against Cincinnati. And now, what, you said the Bears are up to 3?
Bears are up to 3.
That tells you
Looks
that...
like, Daniel's out for a week, maybe more.
Yeah, he is week to week, and that's no good. Obviously,
But, you know, Mariota's no bum, though.
Yeah, he looked good yesterday.
Yeah.
I think there's a chance where Mariota actually might work kind of like well with Kingsbury as the offensive coordinator.
Yeah.
It's going to be what they're running with Jane Daniels is exactly, you know, what Mariota, that's his strength. That's who he is and what he did at Oregon. So I don't hate that whatsoever. But, you know, the Cowboys were on a bye, and we saw it again yesterday with the Giants in that division. Boy, there are some real stink bumps. Now we're trying to, now we're separating the teams from the pack, right?
Now we go. It finally happened. And you saw that reflected in the change in the odds with the look-ahead lines and where we're at now. Some obscene point spread.
Oh, yes.
Coming up now.
Yep.
Because it's bad. We're looking at 3.5 now for win totals with some of these teams. It is vile and nasty what we're looking at. Oh.
Do you have an updated, by the way, you just ran that down, the upcoming schedule for the Chargers. Do you have their updated win total? It was 8.5 last week at one spot, like -150. And I have them under 9. I'm thinking about getting off that bet.
I'm 90%. It's 10.5.
It was different in different books.
That's
okay.
right. Yeah, but sure. Yeah, but look at what's coming up.
Oh, I can't believe that.
Be favored in all these games.
Yeah.
Tennessee's awful. They quit. Raiders are terrible. New England terrible. Browns off. I mean, the season's over. We knew it was bad. These adjusted win totals are 3.5 on these teams. Saints, forget it. I mean,
it is tough.
Look at this thing.
Yeah. Who's the worst team in football right now?
That is a tough call.
Yeah, look at that.
I still think
the
it's
Chargers schedule. Oh,
I still think it's
goodness.
Cleveland. But
oh boy, Carolina's on line 1.
Yeah, I know.
The Raiders are right behind them.
How the Raiders lost to Carolina and got blown out. How did that happen?
All right, opening numbers this week in college football. And we'll discuss current odds to make the playoffs. It is also getting interesting in this sport now.
Sports betting game with VSiN's exclusive betting splits. Stay ahead with real-time market trends and track bet percentages on any matchup, then uncover the edge by comparing them to the amount of bets placed to find out where the sharp money is headed. Upgrade to VSiN Pro to access betting splits, live odds, line moves, power ratings, and in-depth game analysis. Go to VSiN.com/pro to join VSiN, the sports betting network.
This is VSiN, the sports betting network.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
Welcome back. We're live downtown Las Vegas, Circa Resort and Casino, to the college football weekend, and numbers that we have on the board for the upcoming week. I think it's absolutely fascinating now when you look at the teams, and it's getting more intriguing by the week, Pauly, that are either going to make or miss the playoffs at this point. Before the games on Saturday, again, we pointed this out on Friday, Alabama was minus 420 to minus 450 to make the playoffs, and they were a 3-point favorite on the road against Tennessee with other difficult games coming up. Should Tennessee really storm the field? No. Bama lost to Vandy. Yeah, I would say no. I know you haven't had success against them, but that's where Alabama's at now. Don't we think that right now, if you can find around even money, maybe they're a little bit juicier than that, to miss the playoffs? Bama has to play Missouri this week at LSU. They still have to play at Oklahoma, and then they get the Iron Bowl. Well, that looks like 3 wins, though. Oklahoma's terrible, and Missouri's got issue. They should have beat Auburn, but... I'm telling you, no one's talking about this. Everyone in the SEC is going to go 10-2. Then what? 10-2 or 9-3. Then what's going to happen, right? Because we all got these wonky schedules, and the same thing could happen in the Big Ten, where so many teams go 11-1. How it plays out with these round robins, and then what? No one's talking about SMU could make the ACC title game. Nobody. No one's talking about the fact that Miami might not even make the ACC title game. Let me give you 11-1. So 11-1, I'll still put them in, but SMU schedule's easy the rest of the way. They're plus 150 to make the playoffs. Yeah. They play at Duke, Pitt at home, Boston College at Virginia, and Cal. Now maybe they stumble at Duke or Pitt. Maybe, but if they run the table here and make the ACC title game, okay. Yeah. You bet this last week. I can't see a scenario where Miami's going to go undefeated. There's a defense. I can't take you seriously with that defense. No, not at all. Terrible. Now, you got the star and Ward, and nobody can stop you. But come on, give me a stop, please. Playing 50 to 40 games every single week. But obviously your comeback would be if Clemson beats SMU. That'll take SMU out. But the other stuff about Clemson being top 7, Clemson hasn't beat anybody. Right. That's the other thing. While they've been impressive and they're blowing people out, they're not beating. They shouldn't be ahead of undefeated teams. But I still think they run the table. They still have to go to Pitt. But there's so many funky scenarios here, like Army/Navy and Boise getting in and what can happen. And Navy's going to get the first crack at it because they both play Notre Dame. And Army is now plus 140. To win the AAC. Wow. This is dynamite. What were they before the season started? Oh, I have no idea. Okay. To win the conference, forget about it. But the Indiana story, too. I tweeted it after they blew them out. Now, Rourke got hurt, but... They're minus 120 to make the playoffs. Yeah. They don't go 11-1. I mean, with the coaching job that Cignetti's done and to blow out Nebraska like that... Do they lose at home to Michigan? No. I don't think so either. No, Michigan's... this might be the worst defending champion we've ever seen. No. Their offense is so bad. How about Notre Dame? You want to grab some plus money on this team to miss the playoffs. Navy this week, like you said. You were stunned that it opened up 14. Way too high. Can't open at too high, and it came down to 11, yeah. Florida State, well, they should win that game. Virginia, Army at USC. 10-2 Notre Dame in? I don't know. No. Because, again, they're when you really break down the schedule, it's not going to have the meat on the bone like these other teams are going to have, like the SEC and the Big Ten. Sorry, just not going to happen. Yeah. Georgia's minus 1,000. Do they have another loss? They play Florida. They're at Ole Miss. They can lose that game potentially. Sure. I don't think they lose to Tennessee at home. Because I also got news for you. I don't think Tennessee is good either. I got news for you. I shut that game off. It was so bad. I can't take those teams seriously either. No, Alabama and Tennessee? No, they're not good teams. Because we worried about Tennessee not playing anybody, and that was... some atrocious football, what we were watching in that Alabama game. Yep. So they have to play at Georgia, like I said. They get Kentucky at home. They have to play at Vandy. They're minus 150 to make it. I think Tennessee's probably going to go at least 10-2 in the regular season. Yeah. LSU's interesting to me. Mm-hmm. They're at A&M this week, a bye week, and then they get Bama at home. They're at Florida, play Vandy, and then Oklahoma. This. I love getting up at Sunday night, Monday morning, and looking at all these numbers and what has changed and undefeated, yes, no. Odds to make the playoff, yes, no. Obviously, everyone can't be priced like this because you only get 12 teams in. But the BYU stuff, the Iowa State stuff,
Indiana, SMU, so much going on, and not to mention chaos in the SEC.
So games that we have coming up this week, it's another really good schedule. Boise play out here, Friday night in Las Vegas. I did bet the opener here. You bet it last week in the look ahead.
I love Boise in this game.
Yeah,
love them.
I bet 2.5 laid minus 120 earlier. Now, here's going to be my concern. You can talk me off this. I'm sure you're going to try, but I have a funny feeling that every single person in the world is going to be on Boise this week.
Oh, maybe. I mean, but I also, when we were off air last week, during a commercial break, we told Brad Powers the line, and he couldn't believe it. And he had to start texting people. UNLV's not going to stop him. I mean, you couldn't slow down Oregon State. So this is one of the best coaching jobs probably since Bill Clark, what Barry Odom has done. But Barry, what were you watching in practice every day?
Yeah.
Williams is awesome. So their offense is great, but, you couldn't slow down Syracuse. And that's what concerns me, too. Now, your comeback is the penalty and also wrap up on 4th and 1, and they'd be undefeated. But I just think with Matson, the quarterback, the tight end's a stud, and we have the Heisman Trophy winner with Genti here. I just don't think UNLV's going to get stops, and Boise off the bye is also big.
66 the total?
Yeah.
Was it the look ahead like 59 and a half? Or am I wrong on that?
Well, it's concerning what happened against the Beavers. I mean, you were lucky to win that game, and you were up big in that game.
How do we not get a ton of points in this game? This is going to be like a New Mexico game, I think.
That's a New Mexico total, I know. Yeah.
So you mentioned Notre Dame again. Between right now 11.5 and 12.5 at Navy. Illinois at Oregon. I was wrong on Purdue on Friday night. Couldn't score a single point to help us out there.
No.
But the Ducks are laying 21.5 in this game against the Illini.
I don't know what to make of Illinois.
They're tricky to figure out.
Yeah. And Michigan took money there, and then turnovers killed them, but also lost 21-7. So that's a big spread. But good job, sandwich game, and they were able to come through. We couldn't. You're right, couldn't get any help. Just needed 3 points by Purdue, and that couldn't happen. But a good job defensively, and maybe they probably just run the table here. I guess their tough game is going to be it's Wisconsin, right? Maybe Wisconsin has their act together offensively, and because remember they blew that lead against USC.
Yeah.
Or they'd be on a nice winning streak here, and they have a good chance to maybe knock off. We'll know more Saturday because they play Penn State at home.
Right.
Let's see
they're
what
in pretty good shape.
Like. Yes.
Wisconsin's in pretty good shape right now. And by the way, that came down. The look ahead on Penn State, Wisconsin, I think was 7.5. Now the Nittany Lions on the road are laying 6.5 in the game, 47.5. It's a road game at night in Madison where it can get absolutely bonkers.
Mm-hmm.
But the way Wisconsin is playing right now, if you grab that earlier on, like a week ago, to have above that key number, pretty good, obviously, at this point. LSU at A&M. A&M 3.5 earlier today, 53.5 with the total. I just ran down LSU's upcoming schedule.
Here's another one.
Money came in, by the way, today on LSU. My bad, it's on a 2.5.
Yeah. Well, if A&M gets this one, watch out, because then they close with Texas, and then here's another team where you're talking either 11-1 or 10-2 scenario.
I would totally agree with that.
It'd be hard to keep them out.
What do you make of LSU?
Well, Kelly's very good, but that was an impressive performance. The whole world, to your point, was on Arkansas.
Oh yeah, right.
And that blew up. But I would have to take A&M in this game. This is the one where I take A&M.
Missouri's at Bama. How do you lay 13.5 or 14 with Alabama?
I know, but Missouri's got issues. They can't score.
I know.
They couldn't do anything against Texas A&M. They got blown out in that game, and then they had no business beating Auburn. They're cardiac kids, though. They keep coming back from these big deficits. The Vandy game, too.
Yeah.
But I think the luck runs out here. Who knows? Maybe Saban saw something coming. Maybe he knew this was coming, but there's no telling how many games Alabama could lose, though. And to your point, though, can you lay this with Alabama and the issues they have defensively?
I can't do it with that defense. No. And then Texas, they're laying 18 on the road against Vandy, 53.5. That was not a good look for the Longhorns on Saturday. I mean,
No, you finally played somebody. Well, going into the game, though, remember, your quote, nice wins were Michigan and Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Well, they're dog bleep. So it's like,
that's right.
I know your defense is overrated, and you're overrated. And I thought that was a quick hook to change quarterbacks,
Way too quick.
Come on
Way too quick.
What are we doing? Sports Equinox upon us. All 4 major sports in action. No better time to be a sports bettor, and no better time to be a VSiN Pro subscriber. Great deal. Everything we do through May 1st for $120. Every best bet, every host, every guest, the betting splits, the Mackin numbers and trends, less than $20 a month. Through the madness now. VSiN.com/subscribe. Bill 80 stepping his game up. This is awesome. Through May 1st, $120. VSiN.com/subscribe. Get the Sports Equinox special.
Very cool. Awesome offer. Take advantage of that today. It was not a great weekend for me overall. Contest plays in the NFL. College.
Did you have the Packers?
I did.
I can't believe I lost that.
Yep.
We had a beautiful time at Stadium Swim with the Nish and the guys, and I had to walk away. I was so disgusted. Total domination. You just hand a team a game. 16 points off turnovers.
Stroud was 10 of 21 for 80-plus yards, and they covered the game.
Yeah.
Almost won.
I know.
Paul will recap more of the weekend in Win Some, Lose Some next here on VSiN.
In the heart of downtown Las Vegas, a sports oasis awaits. Stadium Swim, the ultimate outdoor amphitheater, built for the ultimate sports fan, with a colossal screen that brings the game closer than ever. Reserve a daybed, private cabana, or lounge in the center of it all. 6 pools to dive into as the game heats up. And the best part, there's never an off-season. Open 365 days a year. Stadium Swim, it's always spectator season.
Matt Brown and Mike Somich are on Ready, Set, Bet as they get you ready to make your bets as the last batch of football games kick off.
What I took away from this is I want to bet against the Patriots when they're behind by 2 scores.
We were going, well, I wonder if this team's actually better than we thought. They're not. They don't have enough talent.
Don't miss out on crucial advice for live betting once the game starts, as well as looking ahead to the upcoming action. Tune in to Ready, Set, Bet Saturdays at 7 p.m. and Sundays at 8 p.m. Eastern on VSiN, the sports betting network. last night?
Wow, winning.
Or was it a rough one?
Well, they can't all be winners, can they?
Loser! You're a loser!
Pauly Howard recaps the night in sports betting in Win Some, Lose Some.
Every weekend it delivers so much action, so much stuff to bet. How about most points Saturday? Baylor, 150-1. You believe that ticket? Underdogs, and they pound Texas Tech. Georgia Southern money line 3-1. Old Dominion does it again, plus 330. Baylor plus 180. Maryland plus 225. Lincoln Riley, what is going on? They should be 7-0. They're 3-4. NC State 3-1. Michigan State plus 240. And even Maine gets in on the fun, plus 380. First touchdown of the early games, the Bengals 9-1. And the return, will an opening kickoff be returned for a touchdown? Yes, 30-1. Hasty 70-1. First touchdown in the London game. What's going on here? These tickets had cash. Most points, Commanders plus 450. Fewest points, Panthers 18-1. Highest scoring game, Lions Vikings 5-1. Lowest scoring game, Colts Dolphins plus 750. Most passing yards, Josh Allen 14-1. This was the bet of the week. Of course, Barkley most rushing. You know he'd go off. The bad blood. Why'd you get rid of me? I'm going to stick it to my former team. Barkley 8-1. Yep. And I didn't see a price on Keon Coleman. Oh, wow.
He led.
Most receiving yards was Coleman. Absolutely. Brock Purdy, 2 touchdowns, 35-1 at Caesars. And the Chiefs, last undefeated, 10-1. UFC, Hernandez by knockout, 5-1. To win in round 5, 12-1. Lane by decision, 12-1. Edwards by sub, 11-1. To win in round 3, 12-1. Smotherman, the UFC fighter by decision, his name's Smotherman? The library investigator's name is Bookman? 9-1.
Well, how do you not bet him like every...
Smotherman's, isn't
yeah,
it?
You got, but I would think like submission, right?
Okay, you do that too.
Right.
Yep, Premier League, Bournemouth surprises Arsenal. That's what's the... Arsenal gets a red card every match. It's lunacy. 4-1, and Brighton plus 360. Subscribe, be part of the team, VSiN.com. Our radio and podcast friends, you always want to see these tweets and videos. At Pauly Does Vegas on Instagram. Send them in. We'll put you on. Look at the dog here blowing out it's his birthday. Right? He's got the cake. Can he blow out the candle? He's barking. Sure, he knows what to do. Blow it out, buddy. You got it? He got it. Yep. He's barking, all excited.
He barked hard enough and blew it out.
Yep. He's all excited. They're like, hey, come on, it's your birthday. Good job, buddy. Yep, he's all excited. He knows what's going on.
Good-looking pooch, too.
Yeah, he is. Good. They got the hat on, right, and then blows out the candle. Good for him. Top notch, baby. Top notch. How about Halloween? Get the costume ready. Here you have the little dog. Walk in the inflatable dog for the costume around the neighborhood. Look at this. He's pulling at the whole piece of cake, right? Oh, there we got the other angle. This is excellent. Little dog. He's bringing the inflatable dog on the street. Imagine you wake up and you see that in the neighborhood. That's odd. Like, what's going on here? Am I dreaming? Whoa. So good. How about a tiger video?
Hold on. Are you going to dress up this year?
I don't know. We haven't talked about it. Look at the tigers sleeping next to one another. Just go, hey, can you make some room here? That's my bed. He pushes them over.
We're
okay. The way up.
We got plenty of room now, right?
There we go.
Yeah,
okay, now bring it in. Bring it in for the real thing.
I'll just slide in right here.
That's awesome, right? Yeah, you're on my spot, right? See, he couldn't go in the other spot.
No.
The Tigers coming in. Yeah, that's my spot. Pushing all the way over. Falcons, lose some. Falcons, Seahawks over, 47.5 up to 52, no good. Carolina, Washington over, 47.5 up to 51.5. No help from Carolina. Michigan, 2.5 up to 6.5, no chance. Texas A&M, 14 up to 21, no good. And 11 fights went to decision in the UFC card. Wow. Come on. No one wants to see that. Bad for the books. Bengals and under. 3.5 up to 6. 45.5 down to 41.5. Browns can't do anything on offense. And then DTR comes in. He was worse. Watson actually played well before the injury.
You know why they flipped this week specifically?
Yes,
and they put DTR number 2 and Jameis was the emergency?
Yes. Because they thought Watson would stink and they didn't want him to hear the Jameis chants.
That's what people thought.
Games.
That's what people were saying yesterday.
Well, why else would you do that? Well, Paul Bovey was livid. Livid. He wouldn't have played. He had them in the contest. He wouldn't have played the game if he knew Jameis Winston wasn't going to be the backup. I don't blame him. A lot of shenanigans going on. So I guess Will Levis was playing hurt last week now?
He was. I heard rumblings that he might not play like late last week, but it didn't matter Guess what? I had the Titans plus 9.5 in the contest.
I know.
Looked great early.
Yep.
Boy, did that fizzle out.
Yep. Rams this is bad for everybody. Antonio Pierce strikes again.
Oh, my God, this
Rams
guy.
from 3 up to 7. They won by 5. Jacksonville from 3 up to 7. Took out the Patriots. New Mexico, Utah State over. 71 up to 78.5. It went over early fourth quarter. I'm coming right back with them. They only got a 65 up in their next game. Notre Dame from 8 up to 14. No sweat. South Carolina plus 3 went off the favorite. Cincinnati 2.5 up to 5.5. Beat Arizona State. They're having kicking tryouts today. Oregon 27.5 up to 30.5.
Got me.
Auburn from 7 down to 3. Arkansas State over 52.5 up to 57.5. 44-28. UCLA from 7 down to 4. They won. And every single game of the NLCS went over. Beats Man City, Wolverhampton draw 5-1. Goal in the 95th minute. And Oklahoma State money line plus 290. How did BYU win that game? How did that happen? And how was that guy wide open?
How was he open like that with 30 seconds to go in the game? Whatever it was? In that moment, he's open? Okay, sure.
Oh, that was bad. Huge win for BYU. I can't believe it. What a game. But again, this funny stuff happens on Friday nights.
By the way, BYU still plus 250 to make the playoffs today.
Doable schedule, no doubt. Yep. Nothing worse in this world than getting bombarded across social media with people trying to sell you picks without any transparency. Juice Reel revolutionizing the way sports bettors buy and sell betting advice. Everyone's bets imported straight from the books. You're as good as your betting data says you are. If you ever get red hot betting and think your picks are worth money, check it out and get paid real money when other people unlock your picks. Unlock the picks that real talented bettors have their money on. Fully transparent betting advice from real people. Only on Juice Reel. REEL. Grab your phone, download it now, get the app. Juice Reel.
BYU plus 250 to make the playoffs at Central Florida this week.
That's a tough game.
It is.
Central Florida blew. That's another one. How did they lose the game? They blew that game against Iowa State.
Yep. At Utah. Well, how does that look today?
That'll be easy. Oh, yeah, I see the OC quit.
Yep. They get Kansas at Arizona State.
Tough game.
That'll be tricky.
Yeah.
They close with Houston.
Okay.
But that's also doable, and if we're talking in 5 weeks that they're 12-0, I'm not going to be surprised. And I can't believe I'm saying that about BYU, but they've had a hell of a season so far this year.
It's time to look at multiple bids from that conference.
I think you're right.
Because if BYU if they win it or only has one loss, and it's
what if BYU
they beat SMU? What if SMU goes to the ACC title game?
What if it's 12-0 BYU versus 12-0 Iowa State in the Big 12 title game?
Yeah, right.
And it's a close game. You're not going to take both teams in the playoffs? All right. This is definitely, is this confirmed now? Yeah. In the NFL, Brandon Ayuk yesterday, season-ending knee injury. Test confirmed it today. He is out. Ricky Pearsall was back yesterday, but that is a massive blow to this offense that has already suffered several big injuries throughout the year. McCaffrey hasn't even played a down yet this season.
Pearsall got shot. He's back before McCaffrey.
Yeah. Now, what are they? They're 3-4?
I don't know.
Their win total was 11.5?
It's down to 8.5. I don't know, Mitch. To think this team could miss the playoffs.
What were they to miss the playoffs in August? It had to be one of the biggest numbers on the board. Because their win total was 11.5, and they were, I think, the biggest favorites to win any division in football.
Okay, we'll give them up. We'll say they beat the Cowboys.
The number's down, by the way, to 5.5.
Then you have the bye. At Tampa, Seattle, at Green Bay, at Buffalo, Chicago.
Okay. That is not easy. And oh, by the way, so the look-ahead number, it was San Francisco 7 against Dallas this week, down to 5.5. Cowboys off the bye. This is the part of the schedule where the rest disadvantage kicks in for the 49ers, and now you're going to have weapon after weapon out for the year or for a long, the cluster injuries now at skilled spots, and all these teams are going to have a rest advantage playing you. This is where they were supposed to start losing games. They were supposed to have all these games already. I'm not going to say the Chiefs game, but before that, they were supposed to have 5-6 in the bank already.
I know. Blowing those games early is going to loom large late. And I still didn't point out they play the Lions late in the year.
That's right.
Oh, boy.
Haven't even touched on that game yet.
Yeah.
Dan Campbell, I was screaming holy hell at the beginning of the game. That was my biggest fear betting that team on futures this year, is that he's going to cost them, a couple of games. the fake punt right away in that spot.
What was that?
Deep,
4th and 7.
Fourth
Come
and
on.
7. That long to go, deep
Never
inside.
had a chance.
Boy, oh boy. But they turned it around. They were kind of fortunate, obviously, to walk out there with a win. But that team is playing great football right now. They're the best team in the NFC.
Yeah. That was a hell of a performance to be down big like that.
Oh, yeah. Up next, we have to get into what's next for the Cleveland Browns and Deshaun Watson. Does his injury change the idea of fading Cleveland for the rest of the year?
It's that magical time of year, the sports equinox, when all 4 major sports are in action. VSiN is